"Yes, I will." The moment Princess Leonor said, "Yes, I will," stunned the entire global net. Everyone expected another calm royal day. Everyone assumed nothing would change. Then, a single moment shattered every prediction. A whisper became thunder, and the world leaned in when Princess Leonor said words no one saw coming. "Yes, I will." But what led to that moment is nothing like what people imagined. From the outside, royalty often looks predictable. Formal, rehearsed, immaculate. But behind palace walls, emotions move differently, quietly, intensely. And on this day, the world would witness something raw, something human, something that slipped past centuries of royal restraint. It began far earlier than the footage suggested. Long before the moment caught global attention, long before the cameras trembled with excitement, long before the internet exploded in disbelief. Princess Leonor had been carrying a decision inside her, one she had not voiced, not even to those closest to her. And yet, in her silence, the pressure built. Royal duties tightened, expectations swirled. Spain watched. Europe whispered. The monarchy waited. But before that monumental yes, something else happened. Something that pulled her heart in two directions. The morning of the event, Leonor woke with an unusual heaviness. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't fear. It was the weight of choice. She knew that once the day ended, her path would not resemble the one she had been raised for. Nothing would go back to normal. Everything, every tradition, every future headline, every duty, would shift. Yet she walked with the composed elegance expected of the future Queen of Spain. Even those closest to her saw nothing unusual. Her posture was perfect, her rhythm steady, but her eyes, they carried a depth that only those who truly knew her could decipher. Her father, King Felipe VI, noticed the difference first. A slight pause before her greeting. A softness in her voice. A certainty, yet a storm, moving behind her words. And without saying it, the king understood. Something was coming, something irreversible, but he didn't press her. He never did, because he knew the burden of monarchy, the silent battles fought internally long before the world sees the outcome. This was one of those battles. Beyond the palace, another part of the story built its own tension. Prince Christian of Denmark had arrived earlier that week, under quiet arrangements, no public announcement, no formal reception. The visit wasn't political, it was personal. Crown to crown, heir to heir, two lives shaped by duty and expectation. And between them, something deeper had grown over the years. Something neither kingdom could fully control. Their bond was subtle but undeniable. It wasn't loud. It wasn't public. It wasn't embellished by tabloids. It grew quietly, in moments of shared responsibility, in the understanding only two future monarchs could have for one another. That understanding became the roots of something stronger than admiration and more delicate than obligation. But love, real love, inside royal walls is complicated. And both of them knew it. Every emotion came with consequences. Every connection came with scrutiny. Every decision echoed through generations. Still, the world did not know that on this day, Leonor and Christian would finally confront the decision they both feared and anticipated. Inside a private room of the palace, moments before the event began, Leonor stood facing a mirror. Her reflection showed a princess ready for duty, but her heart battled with feelings she could no longer hide. Her breath trembled slightly, her hands folded together, as if grounding herself. Then came a soft knock. Christian entered quietly, as if stepping into her world required more care than stepping into his own destiny. He wasn't wearing a crown, nor a sash, nor anything that marked him as the future king of Denmark. He looked simply like himself, calm, sincere, steady. He asked her if she was ready. Not for the cameras, not for the ceremony, but for the question, the real question, he had carried with him. She turned to him. And for a moment, royal titles disappeared. Only two young hearts remained, standing in the center of a centuries-old destiny. Christian stepped closer, his voice steady but undeniably emotional. He didn't kneel. Royal tradition didn't allow it in this setting. But love doesn't need a kneel to exist. What mattered was the sincerity. He asked her the question. A question simple in words, impossible in consequence. Would she share her future with him, not as an escape from duty, but as someone who understood every responsibility she bore? Would she choose love and monarchy at once, despite knowing how rare that combination is? Would she walk with him through two kingdoms, two histories, two futures? Before she answered, the moment was interrupted. A palisade knocked to inform them that the cameras were ready. They were expected. The world was waiting. But Leonor didn't move. She looked at Christian, eyes filled with a truth she could no longer hide. She whispered, "Not yet." She needed one more moment, one more breath, one more internal reckoning before changing her life forever. Christian understood. He backed away gently, giving her space, but not distance. His presence remained, supportive and unwavering. Minutes later, the event began. Cameras rolled. The public saw only the official purpose of the gathering, unaware that beneath the formality, a storm of emotion pulsed between two future monarchs. At one point, Leonor glanced at Christian. It was almost unnoticeable, a tiny shift of attention. But the camera caught it. A spark, a question, a waiting answer. That glance became the seed of the explosion that would come hours later. As the event drew to a close, an unexpected moment unfolded. Christian stepped forward, publicly but respectfully, to address attendees. His words were diplomatic, carefully chosen. But beneath them was a subtle message only Leonor would understand. He spoke of unity, of shared futures, of courage in leadership. Words that seemed political, but carried emotional weight known only to the two of them. Leonor felt the meaning. She felt the call. And she felt the decision inside her settling with quiet certainty. After the event, camera crews moved to capture departing footage. The atmosphere was calm. Nothing seemed unusual, yet the world would soon witness the most unexpected moment of the year. Leonor approached Christian again, now in a less formal setting, still public, but intimate enough for something unscripted to happen. Christian held her gaze, silently asking the question once more. And this time, Leonor didn't hesitate. Her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't need to be. It was steady, sure, life-changing. Yes, I will. 3 words. Simple, powerful, enough to ignite a global reaction. The camera nearest them caught her voice, clear enough to understand, soft enough to feel intimate. The reaction online was instantaneous. The footage spread. Interpretations erupted. The world demanded context. Some thought it was a declaration of love. Some believed it was the beginning of a royal union. Others assumed it was a private conversation accidentally made public. But everyone agreed on one thing: the moment was real, raw, and historic. What people didn't know was the meaning behind those 3 words. Leonor wasn't just saying yes to Christian. She was saying yes to a future she chose herself, a future balancing crown and heart, tradition and personal truth. When she said yes, she accepted a life where love didn't hide in the shadows but stood beside duty. A life where 2 monarchies didn't compete but complemented one another. A life where vulnerability could exist within royalty. King Felipe saw the footage later that evening. He didn't react instantly. He watched quietly, reading the layers beneath her voice. When Leonor walked into the room afterward, he didn't ask for explanations. He simply asked her one question: "Are you sure?" Leonor nodded. And the king, a father before a monarch, gave her a quiet, heartfelt embrace. Queen Letizia, emotional but composed, understood the river of change flowing beneath the moment. She knew her daughter was stepping into a life she had chosen, not one chosen for her. In Denmark, Queen Mary and Crown Prince Frederik received the news almost instantly. Their response was private, but deeply moved. Because they too understood the rare courage it takes for young royals to follow both love and duty simultaneously. As Europe whispered about alliances, as commentators argued, as tabloids spun stories, Leonor and Christian remained grounded in something far more important than speculation. Truth. And that truth was simple: 2 hearts choosing bravery in a world that rarely allows it. The following days brought a storm of attention. Analysts debated constitutional implications. Royal experts argued over timing, messaging, protocol. But amid the noise, one undeniable fact rose above everything. Leonor's moment was authentic. Her yes was not a political headline. It was a human moment in a world that rarely permits humanity from royalty. She walked into her next public appearance with calm poise, not reacting to the global frenzy. Not denying it, not hiding from it, simply acknowledging that life had changed, quietly but permanently. Christian, too, remained composed. But those close to him noticed a certain brightness in his expression. A softness. A sense of peace only those anchored by certainty experience. Their families began private conversations, not about immediate announcements, but about long-term understanding, timing, respect between crowns. The process would be careful and delicate. But the foundation had been set by a moment that belonged to no protocol, no tradition, only to two hearts. As days turned into weeks, the world remained captivated. Comment sections overflowed. Editorials debated. Young people celebrated the idea of love within monarchy. Traditionalists wondered about implications. But every viewer returned to the same small piece of footage. That tiny moment. That gentle voice. Yes, I will. Those three words became a symbol of choice in a life shaped by expectation. Leonor's decision marked the beginning of something that would reshape narratives surrounding royalty, not with scandal or shock, but with sincerity. This moment taught the world something rare, that even within the strictest traditions, love can breathe, speak, decide. And in the end, the world wasn't stunned because a princess said yes. The world was stunned because, for the first time in a long time, the world saw royalty not as symbols, but as humans choosing their own destiny. A destiny Leonor stepped into with confidence, heart, and quiet power. A destiny that began with three words. Yes, I will.